প্র্যাকটিস সেট নাম্বার 1 তোমরা দেখো which of the following poems William Wordsworth Lucy series not directly mention Lucy's name is slumber did my spirit seal. Which of the following poem not part of William's Lucy series the world is too much with us. In one of William Wordsworth Lucy's poem, the speaker mentioned Keats' nature gentlest boon. When does the speaker observe this? When when he is riding Lucy's cottage. According to William Wordsworth's poem, she dwell among untrodden ways, where Lucy specially dwell beside the spring of Dove. In William Wordsworth Lucy's poem, the speaker laments and the difference me. What difference the speaker referring to? The premature death of Lucy. Which of the following is a romantic features in permanent Wordsworth Lucy's poem? Nature's enduring impact of human life. Which of William Wordsworth Lucy's poem often seen as a precursor to Freudian psychologist ideas exploring the speaker's unconscious emotions and desire, strange fits of passion have I known. In Wordsworth Lucy's poem Nature declares the child I myself, I this child I too myself will take. At what age Lucy does nature make the declaration? 3 years. In Shelley's Ode to West Wind, how does the poet describe the leaves driven by the wind like ghosts fleeing from a grave? What characteristic perceived by Shelley is permanently reflected in his poem Ode to West Wind? Revolutionary fervor. In Ode to Skylark, how does Shelley convey the bird's eternal spiritual nature through comparison and analogies? Which of the following characteristics is least representative? John Keats' Ode to Nightingale, classical restraint. Which of the following poem is primarily a celebration of nature? Ode to Autumn by Keats. In Tennyson's poem Ulysses, what does Ulysses mean by saying, I am becoming a name? Ulysses has become a living legend of adventure and courage. এই অ্যান্সারটা হবে which sentiment is conveyed by the lover of Robert Browning poem The Last Ride Together when he says fail I alone in words and deeds why all men strive and who succeeds. এটা হবে Robust Optimism. What kind of poem? The Listeners by Walter Delamere. Supernatural poem. What transforms the speaker bleak outlook? Thomas Hardy's poem The Darkling Thirst. The Thirst Winter Song. The swans symbolize in W.B. Yeats' poem The Wild Swans at Cool, Timeless Beauty and Eternity. What type of play Oliver Goldsmith seeks to conquer? Comedy of Manners. What is the central theme of George Bernard Shaw the play Arms and the Man? The romanticizations of war and versus reality. What compels Flatter to forget Forge check in John Gall's Arthur's play Justice. সেটা হবে to support his loved ones. Ruth, what nickname does Raina give Bluntschli in George Bernard Shaw play Arms and the Man? The Chocolate Cream Soldier. What is Cat Hardcastle's role in Oliver Goldsmith play Sisters to Conquer? The clever and independent daughter who shows sympathy and kindness towards Flatter. Apart from Ruth, and John Gall's earthy play Justice Coxon. What type of short story? The Lagoon by Joseph, সেটা হবে কোনো colonialist fiction. What is the central theme of W. Somerset Maugham's short story, The Lotus Eater? The human desire for escapism and idleness. What do Della and Jim sacrifice to buy Christmas gift for each other? O Henry's the gift of the Magi. Della sacrificed her long hair and Jim sacrificed his words. Charles Lamb essay, The Dream Children a Reverie, is written in the form of a personal narrative. Reason that Lamb describes his real life experience and emotions through the character of Ilya. Both A and R are true. R is correct explanation of A. Adaptation of the play The Justice by John Galsworthy highlights the rigid and unforgiving nature of the law and reason the law failed to be harsh and unforgiving, leading tragic consequences for individuals. A true but are is flaws. After Serbo-Bulgarians war, Captain Barnsley, a Swiss mercenary, seeks refuge to Raina Petkov's bedroom. Raina engages to celebrated Bulgarian officer Sergius Senov, hides Barnsley from authority and leading a series revelation about heroism, love, and social pretensions in her family. Why does Raina decide to hide Barnsley in her room? She is moved by his vulnerability and fear. What is the main obstacle in the relationship between Cat Hardcastle and Charles Marlowe? Charles shines around women of his own social class. What is Raina's attitude towards Swiss mercenary Captain Barnsley? George Bernard Shaw's play Arms and the Man. She is charmed by his practicality and honesty. Who is the protagonist of Joseph Conrad's story The Lagoon? Arshad. What is the precious gift the Della sells to buy a Christmas present for husband Jim, who hand a short story The Gift of Magi? Her hair. What characterizes Sergia's relationship with Louka in George Bernard Shaw play Arms and the Man? Romantic and sensual attraction. What effect does solitary confinement have on pleasure in John Gall's earthy play The Justice? It leads a mental deterioration and despair in Joseph Conrad's The Lagoon. What is the symbolic significance of the lagoon? A representation of isolation and stagnation. In George Bernard Shaw, Arms and the Man, what is the occupation of the main character of Barnsley? A professional soldier for hire. In Oliver Goldsmith plays His Tools to Conquer, what is the name of the gentleman who mistakes Hart Castle home for an inn? Mr. Thurlow. In Joseph Conrad's The Lagoon, what is the complex emotional dramatic between Arshad and Damelin? উত্তরটা হবে প্রথমেরটা passionate love and tragic loss. According to L.A. Hill, the principle of good writing, what is the essential for effective writing? সেটা হবে being clear, concise, coherent. What is the tone of As a Dream Children? Reverie, melancholic, and introspective. What is the central theme of Dream Children? A Reverie, the importance of family and relationship. What does L.A. Hill consider essential for good writing? To engage reader, organizing ideas logically. In W. Somerset Maugham's The Lotus Eater, what is the central theme explored through the character of the Thomas Wilson? The struggle between duty and personal desire. Who wrote the short story The Ox? সেটা হবে H.E. Bates. What is the setting? H.E. Bates' short story The Ox, a rural farm countryside. What does the phrase the darkness palpitated suggests Joseph Conrad's The Lagoon, a feeling intense emotional turmoil, which sentiment is associated with the phrase the words had been his father and his grandfather the gift of magi, nostalgia, and sentimental value. Who is protagonist? The visit lagoon in Joseph Conrad's story The Lagoon, a white man identify the figure of speech. Hail to thee, bleak spirit, but thou never wert from Percy Bysshe Shelley poem to the skylark in a hobby apostrophe, pouring forth the soul abroad in such an ecstasy from John Keats' poem Ode to Nightingale, personification, the centuries crops outlined from Thomas Hardy's poem Darkling Thirst. It was a metaphor to follow knowledge like a sinking star from Alfred Lord Tennyson poem Ulysses. And have a simile. Which of the following sentence demonstrate the current subject verb agreement regarding the use of number to number of students is increasing? Which of the following sentence demonstrate the correct gender agreement? The doctor gave her diagnosis to the patient. Which of the following sentence uses the article correctly? I am going to a university to study law. Which of the following sentence uses preposition correctly? সেটা হবে উত্তর the new policy is similar to the old one. Change the following complex sentence. The book which was written by my favorite author is one of the bestseller list. উত্তরটা হবে the book written by my favorite author is on the bestseller list. She said I am going to movies tonight. এটাকে আমাদের যখন ন্যারেশন করবে তো হবে she said that she was going to movies that night.